let's look at what supply chain is. When you buy on Temu, you buy from China. Is that correct? But that product you bought from China will somehow find its way from the factory of the manufacturer in your house. That is supply chain management. That's logistics. We are now saying that we are going to be using blockchain to be able to document the records of how you buy something from China, America, anywhere in the world, or even in Ogbomosho. Did I pronounce that correctly? Is it Ogbomosho or Ogbomosho? Okay. So you are buying wherever you are buying from any part of the country or any part of the world, and with blockchain you'll be able to track the entire record. We are saying digital assets and copyright infringement. Digital assets, essentially. If you have a music record, right, you'll be able to claim the ownership of that music record. If it is pictures and the rest, you'll be able to claim the ownership of that, and you'll be able to sell it through blockchain and make your money from it. So let's talk about cryptocurrencies. We've talked about blockchain. We understand what blockchain is. We now understand that we can use blockchain for financial records, for assets, for rentals, for land ownership, for verifications and the rest. Right? We talked about financials. So let's talk about the use case in financial, which is what we all know as cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency. And so for some of us, what we know is Bitcoin. How many of you have heard Bitcoin before? Wave your hand if you heard Bitcoin before. Bitcoins. One single Bitcoin is worth over $100,000 now. One single Bitcoin. Imagine if you had one that built Bitcoin, or if when Bitcoin came out, you are moving along with technology and you bought your own Bitcoin. One single Bitcoin is worth over $100,000 now. $100,000, not naira. $100,000. One. So, cryptocurrency basically is blockchain that is used for financial transaction. It's blockchain that is used for financial transaction. So, if I have Bitcoins, or if I have a cryptocurrency wallet, and you have a cryptocurrency wallet, even everything you do online, right, you can use cryptocurrency to buy. As a matter of fact, some universities abroad, they now collect cryptocurrencies. So many shops abroad, so many businesses abroad, they use cryptocurrency. Right? So we are saying that that is what cryptocurrency is. You can use cryptocurrency for financial transaction. Typically, if you want to buy something abroad, you will go to your bank. You will go and collect the code, right? The international code of the person you want to transfer money to abroad, right? That's what will typically happen. Then you have to authorize your bank to do FX, foreign exchange, for you. That's traditional way of doing it. But if you have blockchain, you don't need any of those things. They will just give you their wallet anywhere you are in the world. You can transfer money from your own wallet to the person's wallet anywhere the person is. So people are now adopting cryptocurrencies because it is safe, it is fast, and nobody can hack it. They can hack your bank. We have some fantastic young men here in Nigeria that they will call you and say, hello, this is your brother from abroad. They will tell you, hello, I'm calling you from GT Bank. Is your name XYZ? Okay. Your bank is having issues. I want to change your bank and all of that. It's difficult to do that with cryptocurrency. Some people can get your credentials to sign into your cryptocurrency wallet, but for them to hack into your cryptocurrency wallet is impossible. So, we have some examples of cryptocurrency. I've been calling Bitcoin. So we all know Bitcoins. We have Ethereum. So Bitcoin basically is just for money, for digital storage of value, right? Then we have what we call Ethereum. Ethereum is a platform for building apps. You can also do transfer of money and all of that on Ethereum, but Ethereum basically is a platform for building apps. When we talk about building apps, we mean building products, right, on Ethereum. How many of us know what WhatsApp is? WhatsApp. How many of us are using WhatsApp? If you are using WhatsApp, shout WhatsApp. I can't hear you. Fantastic. WhatsApp is an app. Facebook is an app, right? And whatever other apps we use. So we are saying on Ethereum, you can build apps on it and people will use those apps. And the more people use those apps, the possibility for you to make money off that app. So that's what we call Ethereum. And we have stable coins, e-Naira. How many of you have heard of e-Naira? E-Naira. Wave your hands if you have used e-Naira, if you have heard of e-Naira. E-Naira. Fantastic. You've heard of e-Naira. You've never used it. I've not used it too, but I've heard of it. So there's something we call stable coins. So what happens with stable coins is that they peg the stable coin against an actual currency, right? So e-Naira, for example, is pegged after actual Naira. Your Naira in your bank, right? E-Naira is pegged after that Naira. Then we have, for USD, they call it USDT, and there are others. That one is pegged after the US dollars, and they have other ones like that for different countries, right? So that's what we call stable coin. It's also a cryptocurrency, but those are the three categories of cryptocurrencies we have. Cryptocurrencies that are storage of value, digital storage of value, cryptocurrencies or platforms that you use to build apps, and cryptocurrencies or platforms that are used as stable coins. So the question is, why do people use cryptocurrency? Why do they like cryptocurrencies? Number one, it enables global payments instantly. You can do transfer of money anywhere in the world instantly, right? We talked about that earlier. You can you can remove location and bank access barriers. You don't have to go to a physical bank. You don't have to be discussing with somebody, oh, my money is trapped, this one and that one. The platform is there, the technology there, it is working, right? So people use it because there is no hassle. It creates wealth. Like I said, when you bought a while ago, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin was under $1, and here we are, Bitcoin is over $100,000. There was a time Bitcoin went as high as $50,000 and dropped back to like $10,000, and then people were panicking and they were selling their Bitcoins. But here we are, Bitcoin is over $100,000 now. What are we saying? It is a store of value. People can create wealth from owning cryptocurrencies. Not all cryptocurrency. Please, not all cryptocurrencies. Then, it gives ownership of financial inclusion. What I mean is that you do not need to have a bank account. You don't need to do any of those things. All you just need to do is to have your own wallet and buy your cryptocurrency, and you are financially included. All right? So, we are talking about three key things today. We've discussed blockchain. For us to understand what blockchain is, remember we said blockchain is a record, is a document, a digital document or a digital ledger that has a record. And that record is connected to another record, and that is what we call the chain. So that's the blockchain. We talked about the different uses of blockchain, and we talked about cryptocurrency as one of the use cases of blockchain, which is the financial use. And now we are talking about product development. Product development. Product development. What do we mean by product development? Product development is the process of identifying a problem. You see a problem, or you are living somewhere, and you say, there are no, for example, there are so many people who own cars here, but nobody's washing cars. And you need money. What do you do with wisdom? You start washing cars. Thank you very much, ma. You start washing cars. That is, that you have been able to identify a problem, and you are profiling a solution to that problem. And you would after you have provided a solution to that problem, you will now find people who will test the solution you have provided. And when you have tested it and it is successful, you now launch that solution as a product. Correct? So that's what we mean by product development. And it's not just for car wash. If you are living in an environment and there are so many children, and there is nobody who is selling baby materials, baby food, babies, there are a lot of babies, and the closest market to you is very far. What do? You start selling baby products. And you go and meet one or two people and say, oh, Mama Nkechi, I sell baby products. Oh. Mama Nkechi, I sell diapers. Mama Tunde, I sell Cerelac. I sell baby oil. And once they start using it, and you start making some money, you go and open shop. That is you launching the product. You have launched the product by opening the shop. So that is what we mean by product development. So let's look at a product like WhatsApp. Because you mentioned WhatsApp earlier, correct? All right. So WhatsApp started as just a messaging app. Message, like text message. But they said, let's create a product that people can use to send message to each other without using credit. Because we had gotten to a point where a lot of people were using data. So they said, let's create a product that people can use to communicate with each other, but started with messages that they are using internet. And WhatsApp started. This WhatsApp that we are using today, WhatsApp, you could not even send picture on WhatsApp before. You could not send picture on WhatsApp. You could not send documents, you could not send anything. The only thing you could use WhatsApp to do before was just messages. So they looked for the problem. They identified a solution to that problem. They tested the product by giving it to all of us to go and download for free. We all downloaded it. If you remember, before WhatsApp, there was BBM, BlackBerry Messenger. Do you remember? For those of us, I'm not old though, they told me. They told me, I didn't use it. They told me. So for those of us who use BlackBerry, it was BlackBerry Messenger. But after a while, they said, it's not everybody that uses BlackBerry. Because you can only send messages with internet on BlackBerry to another person that is using BlackBerry. But we now had iPhones. We had Nokia that was using internet. You know, and we had Android was coming out. We had all these other platforms. And we said, let's create a product that will be cross-functional. When we say cross-functional, that can work on BlackBerry, that can work on, what they call it, on Nokia, right? That can work on Android, that can work on iPhone. That you don't need to use this phone to be able to communicate with somebody else. Any phone you are using, as far as you have internet, you'll be able to communicate with people. So they found that problem. They provided a solution. They gave it to people all over the world to test it. Correct? And after a while, they started improving. So now, you can do video call on WhatsApp. Now, you cannot just do video call on WhatsApp. You can do conference call on WhatsApp. Now, you can also even use your laptop to make calls and do presentation on WhatsApp. That's what we mean by product development. So you have to, first of all, identify a problem, find a solution to that problem, and the truth is this: there is problem everywhere. There is problem everywhere. And if there is problem everywhere, it means there is solution everywhere. Or let's call it opportunity. There is opportunity everywhere. So if there is a problem, there is an opportunity. That's why businessmen, they love problems. You see somewhere that people are fighting somewhere up and down, a businessman is running there. And for those of us who are Igbos here, I mean, no, you know, an Igbo man, you see, anywhere, he will go there. If there is problem, people are complaining, the Igbo man will go there. people are living there. They can't build house. The Igbo man will go there. After a few years, he will build house. Because what they are thinking about is, if there is a problem, there is an opportunity. So, the question then is, how do you walk through this product development thing that we are talking about? So the first question is, who has a problem? Who are the people who have that problem? Find them. To make sure that the problem that you are thinking they have is the actual problem that they have. What pain do they have? What is that thing that is the pain point for them? Sometimes when we look at things, we think that this is the problem, it's a lie. That's not the problem. I'll give an example. So, you could be living in a community and you'll be telling yourself that people living there, their problem is that they need slippers. But the reason they are needing slippers is because where they used to go and get water is far and the road is rugged. So because you have to walk the long distance, their slippers will be damaging, correct? Because of the long distance. So you are there, you are seeing that there is a problem of slippers. But in your mind, you are thinking the problem is to open shop for slippers. The problem is not to open shop for slippers. Because the reason that they are trekking that long distance is because they want to go and fetch water. So if you are a good thinking businessman, you will go and think about building a borehole close to that community so that instead of them to be trekking to the stream, they come to your borehole to fetch water. That is their pain point. Their pain point is they need water to be accessible, to be close to them. But you are looking at slippers is tearing. That's not their problem. So what I'm trying to say is identify the pain point. The pain point here is not the slippers that is tearing. The pain point is the distance, the accessibility to get water. So the next question is, how can we use technology to solve the problem that you have identified and that you've identified the pain point? How do you use technology to solve that problem? And the last question, which is the most important one. The last question, which is the most important one. Will people use and pay for this solution? Any solution that you build that people do not use and pay for is not sustainable. So you must make sure that when you are building a solution, someone should be able to pay for it. That's what we call return on investment. When you put in capital, that should be what? Return on investment. So people must be willing to use your solution, and people must be willing to pay for the solution. Some people can be willing to use your solution, but not willing to pay for your solution. So the thing here is that they must be willing to use, and they must be willing to pay for your solution. Somebody say, I will be paid. If you believe that when you say you will be paid, your breakthrough will come in 2026. Say, I will be paid. It's like you don't believe you are going to be paid, though. You don't believe you are going to be paid. I want to hear a resounding, I will be paid. I want to hear something that will be convincing that the heavens will shake and say, I will pay this person. I will be paid. Very good. From your lips to God's ears. So, what are the elements of a good product? The first element of a good product is that the product must be delivering value. Your product must deliver what? Value. It must have value. It must be important. It must be important. The second element is that it must have usability. We call it utility. Usability. Someone must see it and say this thing is useful. If your product is not useful, it makes no point. It's just a wishy-washy, good-looking thing. What is the use of a Lamborghini to the man who wants to eat food. Is his problem, no, sorry, let's not say Lamborghini because maybe he can collect it and go and sell it. Abi? Okay. What is the use of a good book, storybook, novel to a man who is hungry? No use. It doesn't mean that the novel is not a good product. But to the man that is hungry, is the book useful to him? No. So you must think, what is the usability? Remember we talked about the people who need it and what is their pain point when you are building a product. So when you build that product, you must think about what is the usability of this product. You've talked about value, it's important, it's good, all of that, but who would use it? And the last point, is it sustainable? Is the product what? Sustainable. Sustainability is 2 branches. The first branch of sustainability, we talked about somebody paying for your product, correct? So in the now and in the nearest future, will someone be paying for this product, right? That this product can be sustaining itself. So it could be your company, it could be anything, but that company or that product must be able to be sustaining itself. That's the first branch. Instant, immediate usability, immediate sustainability, I meant to say. The second one is the future. Will it stand the test of time? Will the product you have built, will it stand the test of time? And we look at a lot of businesses we build around us, some of them do not stand the test of time. And there are so many factors that cause that. But let's look quickly into banking. Banking. We know that a lot of banks have collapsed because to an extent, sustainability was not part of what they were thinking about. For the banks that are surviving, if you go and ask them, a long time ago when they were starting the bank, they were saying that in the next 100 years we'll be one of the biggest banks. That's what they told themselves. They said it to themselves, in the next 100 years we are going to be the biggest bank. And you see GT Bank. When GT Bank was starting, in those days, Diamond Bank, Zenith Bank, for those of you who are bankers, I'm sorry, but Diamond Bank, Zenith Bank, they were telling you that if you don't have 100,000 naira, if you don't have 1 million naira, you can't bank with us. And GT Bank said, you know what, come to our bank, 0 balance. And they were going to meet students. Those students now are CEOs. We are talking about future, legacy. Remember, the first part of sustainability is for now. For your company or your product to be running. Then the second part of sustainability is to be looking at the future. What are the things you need to do for what? The future. And that's what our parents are doing. Most of our parents, they invest into us. We the children, our parents, they invested in us, we the children, so that in the future we will be their legacy. So when you build a product, your product is your baby, your product is your child, your product is your legacy. Your company, it's your legacy. So you should be thinking, what should I do in the future to make this company or to make this product to be sustainable? Right? And that's what we see with a lot of banks, like I mentioned earlier. So, now we understand the 3 elements of a good product. The first one is what? Value. The second one is what? Usability. And the third one is what? Sustainability. For it to be sustainable. Now, what can I do? What can you do to become a product developer? We are looking at, for technology, for example, because we are talking about blockchain and the rest of it, right? Let's not forget, we are still talking about blockchain. So how can you become a product developer? Or what skills do you need to become a product developer? Must you learn how to code? Must you learn how to write programs? You don't have to. So I'm going to tell you that there are 2 fields in technology. We have the technical part and we have the non-technical part. And there are careers, when I say careers, I mean jobs. There are careers that you can venture into from the technical side, and there are careers you can venture into in the non-technical side. So you can be a blockchain developer, you can be a smart contract engineer, which is a product developer essentially. You can become a data engineer, you can become a cyber security analyst, and there are so many other things that you can become. Those ones are technical. You have to learn how to code or some level of technical competence, technical knowledge. You must gain it. But for non-technical, we have things like product management. That means you become a product manager or project manager. We have what we call UI, UX. UI means user interface, user experience. User interface, user experience designer. You can become a growth and community lead. You can also become a content and research specialist. Content and research specialist. So we are saying generally that you can become a product manager if you do not have technical competence, right? You can become a product manager, you can become a designer of how a website or how the interface looks like, right? You can move into marketing to learn how to do research, to learn how to understand what people like. Remember, we said you have to understand people's pain points, and that's part of the marketing part we are talking about. So these are the non-technical skills that the non-technical careers that you can go for, and if you want to go to the technical part, we mentioned that as well. So, let's bring everything back since we're in the church. We're in the church. So let's bring everything back to the church. We are talking about faith, our faith. We are talking about purpose, and we are talking about technology. Innovation is not just intelligence. When we talk about innovation, we are not just talking about you being intelligent. Innovation is what we call stewardship. In those days, in the church, we used to say stewards. Stewards, oh, steward. We used to call people stewards. Do we understand what it means to be a steward? It doesn't mean you own that thing, but it means you are accountable for that thing. You are building that thing. You are growing that thing. You are improving that thing. So it's not just about you having intelligence or being wise or getting knowledge. It's about you improving what God has put into your hands. Right? And that's what we are talking about when we talk about innovation. And we give you examples. Joseph in the Bible, the dreamer. How many of us have heard the story of Joseph the dreamer? Joseph the dreamer. Alala. Joseph the dreamer. Joseph used innovation, ingenuity to manage the resources of Egypt. Are we together? He used the innovation or the ingenuity that God has given him to manage the resources, the food resources. Remember, there was famine. That's what he used. How many of us have heard of the story of the walls of Jericho? That is strategic innovation. And the funny thing about innovation is that it is inspired by God. Innovation is inspired by God. And there are so many examples because of time. There are so many examples that speaks to innovation in the Bible. Solomon, for example. And there are so many more. So what are we saying here? God himself supports innovation. God is not adverse to you doing things innovatively. God himself is not adverse to or is not against you being creative and solving problems. God is supporting you, and that's why we are talking about how can we use technology in the house of God. So let's just quickly talk about what skills, the skills we can use. So how we can use our skills. We can use our skills to build ethical solutions. We can use our skills to create opportunities for ourselves, for others around us, for our families. We can use our skills to uplift our communities and to empower Africa. My charge to us is we should go and learn basic skills. We should join communities, technical communities. We should become practical. Do not just learn skills that you will not use. And you have to be consistent. My closing message. The future is not waiting for us as youths of the church. If you look at the people who have not advanced themselves, you see that some of them are still where they are. So the future is not waiting for you. You are either going to be preparing for the future or you are going to watch it pass you by. So my urge and my charge to you is this. Do not just dream, build. Do not just use technology, shape it. Do not just follow the future, become the future. The world is waiting for you. And I pray that you be the story that they are going to be talking about tomorrow and in the future. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Very, very good. I would like to. Praise the Lord. This is a fantastic lecture. Ẹ jẹ́ ká dìde dúró. Kò yẹ kí wọ́n lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. A fẹ́ kí àwọn bàbá wa, Pastor Adébóyè, kán bá wa gbàdúrà fún wọn.
Shall we pray? Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you, we bless your name for your blessing.